the pool of good hip hop music has really gotten big, right? We've had a lot of dope rappers. There's been a lot of dope rhymes, dope production in the music that actually came into the game. That we're basically at a point where it's very easy for one rapper to sound like another rapper, or for one rapper's lyrics to sound like something that you've actually heard before, you know. So it's actually at a point where if you're now making good music just for the sake of making good music, then I'm not really drawn towards the music. I now need the story behind the music. I want to know, why do you do what you do? What inspired it? Where do you come from? Who are you? Because when I look at all the rappers that I love and respect now, these are people who are able to basically lyrically be able to tell who they are, be able to put their feelings on paper. And they actually got me to a point where now I actually care about what they have to say, because I relate to the music. Everything that they say actually connects. So even when they're throwing a subliminal on a song, I'm able to say, oh shit, I know who they're talking about, because I know who this person is, so that the music kind of connects with me. So I'm basically of the opinion that if you really want me, to buy into your art form, I'm not really buying into your art form. I'm actually buying into your story, as an artist. So someone who's really done a good job of making me buy into their story is actually the next guy. I call him the Master Rochi of hip hop, but yeah, he's his Doggy T. So let's get straight into that video. Word to brothers and sisters, welcome back to Haiku. I do, and I do it for hip hop, man. I do it for hip hop, man. I mean, what else is there? Really, I've been saying there really isn't much else. Anyway, so today we're looking at a song by Tumi. Well, he now goes by the name Stogie T, but before he used to go by Tumi, as in when he was part of Tumi and the Volume. So this song is taken off his debut album when he started his record label called Motif Records, I think in 2006. So yeah, he worked on this project called Music from My Good Eye, which was his first album. And on this song, he features a lady by the name of Fifi, which I think she's a jazz artist from Pretoria. But yeah, dope song, man, dope song. And without wasting time, let's just get straight into it and hear what Stogie has got in store for us. Tumi is busy wilding in the background. Like, he will not allow us to enjoy this lady's voice. He's busy wilding in the background. I don't know why. This is music for my good eye. Courtesy of Motif don't sleep. We go. Thank you for engaging. I'ma shut up and let the music tell it. Go ahead. Shut up. Yeah, it's that big brother do me from the volume. No band, no amps, I grew it from the soil. The program is show fans, music from my toil. Draw the royal blood, moving in my forearms. It's the big brother do me from the volume. No band, no amps, like amplifiers. He's got no band, no amps. He's now growing it from the soil. The program is to show fam music from my toil. So your toil is basically it's like your hard work, the fruits of your hard labor. So he's showing us the music from his toil. Draw the royal blood moving in my forearms. And we all know black people are royalty, right? We all know. There's a history they're teaching us, but then there's the actual history of us black people. And we all know we are royalty. But That's a separate video.
Show fans music from my toil, draw the royal blood moving in my forearms. I'm no hustler, street nigga with cuffs on my wrist, quicker than cops in the sprints. This isn't from the township, it's the sound clips representing the South Tip where the residents shout, we were oppressed but now rich.
He says there that this ain't music from the township, right? Because Stogie, he was born in Tanzania when his parents were in exile, and then I think he stayed in some other African countries. So when he actually came to South Africa, he didn't even stay that long in the township. I think he stayed here in Soweto in Jabavu for a while, before his parents, his mother actually, moved them into the north. So he's never really been a township boy. That's why he says this ain't no this ain't music from the township. This ain't from the township.
Sound clips representing the South Tip where the residents shout, we were oppressed but now rich.
He's from the south that represents we were oppressed but are now rich. So he's part of that group of black people who, when democracy came into our country, his mother actually made it big, and then they moved into the north. That we were oppressed but are now rich. So that first batch of black people who actually made it and were able to live the soft life in the north, that's Stogie. So he's not a typical township boy like a pro kid, for instance.
The brown representing the South Tip where the residents shout, we were oppressed but now rich. The brown is washing new money fountains, but found it astounding. The Tumi's proud and grounded, duties flounging artists, music drowned without a trace of life. Play the last booty sounding album.
Okay, guys, Stogie's music is more compact. So there's a lot of unpacking, a lot of pausing that you actually have to do. But here he's saying the brown is washing new money fountains, right? And I think what he's referring to money laundering, because a lot of actually major record labels at a time started from money with brown envelopes, So it was like there was that, that brown money washing fountain, of like record labels coming off money. But he's saying that was like record labels that were actually founded, right? And he's saying that Tumi is that people are astounded that Tumi is proud and grounded. That even though there's that movement of dirty money, he's staying proud and grounded.
Artists, music drowned without it. Astounding, the Tumi's proud and grounded. Through these flounging artists, music drowned without a trace of life.
Through these flounging artists, music drowns without a sense of life. Is he saying it without a sense of life?
Through these flounging artists, music drowns without a trace of life.
Oh, music drowns without a trace of life. Play their less booty sounding album. He's basically speaking about authenticity here, to say, music is drowning without a trace of life now. And in order for you to hear that, you just have to listen to these others rappers' booty sounding albums, which is like music that sounds like ass, basically. So he's speaking into the concept of authenticity. That's what he's bringing into his music.
He's proud and grounded, through these flounging artists, music drowned without a trace of life. Play the last booty sounding album, and let the music from my good eye soundtrack the good drive, outlast the contracted bourgeois. Going to look.
And let the music from my let the music from my good eye outlast the
contracted bourgeois. Music from my good eye soundtrack the good drive, outlast.
Or let it be the soundtrack of goodbyes and outlast these contracted bourgeois, right? So he's talking about rappers who are in like record labels, to say, let his music be the soundtrack to their goodbye, and while his music outlasts these contracted bourgeois, right? So he's very complex. Like, you really have to, he's challenging. You really have to get into trying painting a picture in your head of what is he really talking about.
As the contracted bourgeois, going to look fly, rap and sell the hood lines. If I can, then you might watch and set them dudes right.
He says, if I can't, then you might watch and set these dudes right. So if he can't do it as an artist to try and speak out against these booty sounding albums, then he hopes that us as the listeners, can actually watch and basically speak them out, call them out on the
The fly rap and sell the hood lines. If I can, then you might watch and set them dudes right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Set them dudes right, man. This is hip hop music, man. I'm not afraid to say it. Are you? I do this for my culture.
like he keeps whiling in the background. And in the first part, it's amazing because in the first chorus, he said, what, let me keep quiet and let the music do the talking. But he's still out here whiling.
From a single mother, give me what I need, nurture a kid into a thinking adult. And I'm thinking out loud, speak like a drinking adult, free from inhibitions, blood out, ship and never leaving.
Big brother T from a single mother gave me what I need, nurtured a kid into a thinking adult. And Stogie is speaking at length about how he was actually raised by his mother, because I think his father passed away while they were still in exile, I think when he was like 8 months old or something. So he speaks a lot about how his mother was someone who actually raised him, and his mother was someone who was very strong on character, So she was a very strong, like powerful woman who needed a lot of character from a person. So that's why he's saying, you know, big brother T from a single mother who gave me what I need, nurtured this kid into a thinking adult, because that was the type of woman that actually raised Stogie.
And I'm thinking out loud, speak like a drinking adult, free from in
And I'm thinking out loud, speak like a drinking adult, right? So we all know when they say a drunk person speaks a sober mind. So that's what he's talking about, to say, he speaks like a drinking adult. It means you are speaking a sober mind when you're actually drunk.
kid into a thinking adult. And I'm thinking out loud, speak like a drinking adult, free from inhibitions, blood out, ship and never leaving God out. Follow my lead if you're willing to bring a squad out on my sleeve, see it, be it, feel it in all light. It's alright if you think it's a bore. I got sisters in their living rooms getting involved, and they ain't leaving till I finish the song. Not here to perform, my mission is the mirror for y'all. You need not know yet, but how I speak it is foreign. True, I've been on tour, yeah, but I'm received like y'all.
I've been on tour, yeah, but I'm received like y'all. So Stogie, when he was still part of Tumi and the Volume, he actually traveled a lot internationally. And he traveled to a point where he started to think that he might be losing traction back at home. Because like when you're out there performing music, you don't know what's currently happening locally in the hip hop scene. So he kinda had this thing that, yo man, if I go back home, like he'll be so out of touch with what's actually going on. So he was surprised, like he says, that he's been abroad but came back and still received like So when he came back, he was surprised to see that no, there were still people who were like, yo dog, we still fuck with you T. So that's why he's saying, he's been traveling but he came back and was still received like like he was still like one of us in a way.
Long, yeah, but how I speak it is foreign. True, I've been on tour, yeah, but I'm received like y'all. Same reactions to the African and strange accent. They keep asking me to validate the great talent, and I remain silent. They for fear that I could cry. That's why I give them nothing else but music from my good eye.
Same reaction to the African with the strange accent. They keep asking me to validate this great talent, and I remain silent from fears that I could cry. That's why I give them nothing else but music from my good eye. That line, like for me, it stands out the most from this song, because understanding that he actually spoke about how when he actually came into the country, a lot of people were referring to him as Ikwerekwer, like when he was actually still young. Not even like people from outside, like even some of his own relatives here in Soweto, they used to call him Ikwerekwer. So when he says same reaction to the African with the strange accent, he's actually referring to the whole xenophobic thing, to say you know, he he was kind of treated like an outsider, coming from someone who's like from outside of the African, well, like within Africa, but outside of the country, and then coming here and he can't speak the local languages as well. So he's being referred to. He's got a strange accent, Plus his influence with hip hop as well. I mean, the kind of hip hop that he used to listen to, he was into your, like his music is so dense and so compact that it sounds like he's speaking a foreign language, even though he's speaking in English. Like people will hear him like, what is he talking about? But because his music is so dense, influenced by the music that he used to listen to a lot overseas, hip hop music, that it sounds like it's a strange accent, but he's actually an African, and he actually speaks in English, a language that we can all understand. It's just that people sometimes, I don't want to say they are lazy, they just never take the time to try and unpack that music and actually hear what he's actually saying. So, strange reaction from an African with a strange accent. They keep asking me to validate this great talent. So, just because they refer to him as a foreigner, he feels like he always has to keep like validating himself, which you wouldn't do for someone that is a rapper this side, that you grew up with in the township and they speak a language that you really understand. So with him, it's like he has to keep validating this great talent, and he just remains silent from fears that he could cry, because the one place that he feels at home is the one place where he's constantly being questioned. So it's like, what must happen now? Because he's proved that he's good at this hip hop thing, but then, they're still asking him that he has to keep validating himself. So that issue there of identity, it's a personal issue for him, and when you start to understand where it comes from, it makes it a lot easier for you to try and unpack his music.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, man. Yeah. I'm like a couple decades into this. Yeah, a little sharper in the mind, a little wiser too.
Dude is wild.
Enjoy the rest of the album. Easy, easy, come on, get
Music from my good eye. That's a nice play there, by the way, on the the title. Music from my good eye is in the actual eye, but music from my good eye is in him. So it's a nice play there. I'm sure there's a lot we can actually unpack just from that alone. But anyway, that was the my reaction to this dope song here. And yeah, man, there really isn't much to say except for the fact that, Tumi is a dope lyricist, man. On any day, he's one person you can always count on, to challenge you like lyrically. And if only, there was like enough of us people who actually appreciates an artist who takes the time, to actually, get into those deep personal, issues that they're dealing with and try and unpack it and give us the music, man. Because I think a lot of us do actually, suffer from a lot of personal challenges, and it's great when you can find this type of music that you can actually relate with. So yeah, man. Make sure that you go into the comments there. Let me know what you think about this reaction about the song. If I missed anything, please do make sure that you comment. And yeah, man. Take care of your mental. And yeah, peace and love. I'm out.